Welcome to the Fashion Department, a podcast that will explore the world of fashion and how it informs all aspects of life, from dress and lifestyle to food and travel. And now, let me introduce you to your fabulous host, Tina Bercoli, a Greenwich, Connecticut-based wardrobe stylist and radio show personality with over 20 years in the fashion industry. Tina will share her take on style, trends, the business of fashion, and on being grateful. And now, here's your host.
Hello. Welcome, fashion friends, to the Fashion Department. I've got a great show for you today. I have a in-studio guest whom I'm very, very excited to introduce you to. I have Nicole Steinthal. She is here with me. She's the creator of a lifestyle brand called NS Lifestyles. She's got a fantastic social media following. She's got a blog, a radio show. She does it all. I'm going to let her tell you all the fabulous things. I feel like you are like Superwoman, Nicole. First of all, welcome to the Fashion Department.
Tina, thank you so much for having me today. This is amazing. I love it here.
And you're my first guest that came to the studio to record with me, so this is a big deal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm honored.
We're happy. And it just so happened, by the way, it's the Fashion Department. We did not plan this, but we're both in black and white, which you will be able to see.
Yep.
Yeah.
And leopard shoes.
Yes, that's right. Oh my gosh, leopard shoes. Did not plan at all. And it's funny because usually my guests will say, what do I wear? Because a lot of them, we're doing it through like a Zoom type of link. Mm-hmm. And I'll say, well, we're probably only going to see from your waist up, but, wear something fun and colorful or whatever. So love that you got the memo.
We got the black and white.
All right, Nicole, so let's unpack this because you've got many talents. I feel like, where do we start with it? First of all, NS Lifestyles, that is your social media handle, correct?
Right. NS Lifestyles blog on Instagram and www.nslifestyles.com blog.
Okay, so that's her social media. Check it out as we listen to all about you. Tell us how you got to where you are. Tell us the story.
Well, actually, it's a little bit by accident. I went down a bunch of different paths before I got to my reality here now. I originally started my career at Tiffany & Company in the marketing department, and I worked on print advertising worldwide. And when you were at Tiffany, they encourage you to go outside of the company and take classes on something that you would like to, continuing education. So I chose to take classes at Parsons and get a certificate in interior design. And I love interior design. Like, I love going to like the design district, and I love going to Home Goods. Like, I just love going all over. And I thought this was going to be like the perfect thing for me. And I had my children, and I left Tiffany, and I would take classes at Parsons. And one of the classes I took was a business class for people in design, and they were talking, and this is probably like 2001, 2003, and they were talking about blogs. And one of the major things that they taught us was that in the future, that magazines were not going to exist anymore. And this is the time when The Devil Wears Prada came out, and we're watching The First Monday in May, and we're hearing all about Anna Wintour, and you can think like, oh my gosh, Vogue is always going to exist. Like Harper's Bazaar, everything, Allure, like all those magazines, how could they ever be replaced? And slowly but surely, friends that I worked with, people that I were friendly with and that were editors, they moved on. They started different businesses. They're like, there's nothing more for us in the magazine world. And lo and behold, blogs and now eventually Instagram have become, digital marketing has become the thing. And that's where people get their information on fashion, on cooking, on organizing.
Everything. Shopping.
I mean, amazing. And so I had a friend who did a networking group in New York, and she asked me to help her in Westchester. And she was like, oh, do you have a blog? And in that class at Parsons, we had, one of the assignments was to set up a blog. So I was like, I could dust that off. And then it really took off. Like, my girlfriends would say to me, oh my gosh, you have to continue this, you have to publish, you have to do this. And I did, and word of mouth around Westchester and New York City and now Florida. And I have followers in Europe and Asia. It just really sort of took off. And the messages I get, and people will stop me on the street that they're buying something that I put on my blog. It's so rewarding, the community that you can build. I'm sure you see that as well on social media. And now I have clients that I help them with their social media and share their small businesses, which I I'm really an advocate for people who have small businesses and sharing with my community and asking them to follow. And that's where I am now.
So the blog was it fashion based?
It's lifestyle. So
Lifestyle,
I publish
okay.
5 days a week. I
Wow.
would focus on. I
You
would
still
focus
do?
on. I still do.
Oh my goodness.
I focus on
That's huge.
editorial calendar. So Monday I usually do a book club. Tuesday and Wednesday are I love to call them retail days. So it's something that I will do either a roundup, or sometimes I'll go to Home Goods and do a roundup, or I'll do a fashion roundup. Thursday, I like to do a recipe, and my girlfriends call me like the queen of quick and easy. I'm always throwing something in the crock pot, or today's recipe is banana bread oatmeal in the crock pot, and it is fabulous. So I wouldn't say I'm a gourmet. I am no Julia Childs, but I love to give you a quick and easy family recipe.
That's my kind of cooking.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun.
Because I cook not at all.
Yeah. And a lot of times I have to try out the recipes, so that's actually a riot too. And Friday I like to focus on a person. And sometimes on the Saturday I'll put real estate stalking posts. So I have a lot of realtors who are my sponsors, and they have great houses. And it's not only so much for somebody who's looking maybe in the future to buy or sell a house, but it's also great to look inside these houses, get design tips, see kitchens, see what's out there, inspiration. And I usually do try to use homes that are inspiring. So that's really what I do.
Wow. Well, and I know that's only part of it. So that's the blog.
Yes.
So it's truly a lifestyle blog. There's a little bit of everything in there.
Right.
And then let's switch over to your social media, because I saw the whole like marketing thing. I'm like, okay, I saw you were helping someone who I kind of know through someone else. We're not going to mention names. Right. And I was like, oh, so you also help build social media.
So I was like
accounts.
not really knowing what Instagram was, but everybody was getting on it. And I just sort of jumped on that wagon. And over COVID, I have to say my Instagram community really grew, because I would start reposting people. And that's the one thing people ask me is, how do I get more followers? And I just tell people, just repost. If you have a story you like, it's very easy. If they have a story, just push the arrow, repost it in your story, tag them. And then if they repost you, all of their followers see you. So it's the easiest way in the stories. Repost. I do it. And then people started reposting me, and then I got new followers, and it really exploded. So I am right now at 52,000 followers, and that's worldwide, but most of my community is in the Westchester, greater New York area, and some and a lot in Florida. But in the Instagram, I really focus on showing you things that I see. So places I go to, restaurants I go to. I don't try on clothes. I don't do anything. I just show you everything from my point of view. And really, the Instagram and the blog are two completely different identities. Nothing is the same. Nothing overlaps. So you get a lot of different content.
Right. Yeah. It sounds like there's definitely, I mean, I would be interested in both, obviously, but because of what I do, but it sounds like, yeah. So if you were a small business owner and you, like we always say, this is the great thing about social media, especially Instagram, you can really build a following. You can really capture your customers' attention. You don't long are the days gone, are the days where you need a brick and mortar store to sell something. You don't even need a website anymore. So, do you advise people, if they are a small business owner, how to grow their business?
I'm really, really adamant about keeping my rates low, because I know that small businesses will say to me, they go to creators and they charge a lot for our stories. I really keep it very reasonable so that you can get bang and for your buck. And I cannot guarantee that people are going to bang down the door and come into their store, but I can tell them that they will increase their awareness. I share it with my community. I keep doing it. I believe in multi-level marketing, so I'll put them on my blog. I have an ad on my page. I share my stories. I will, if they want, I will do a reel. I'm not saying I'm the best reel person, but I'm getting better. And we've had great success. I have a whole testimonial page, and it's wonderful, and I love helping people. And I understand I'm there too. As a small business, you don't have a lot of extra money.
Right.
So whatever I can do to help within somebody's budget, it's really rewarding for me. And I get testimonials all the time that people really appreciate it. And I think it's they come back and they continue more months. They start a 3-month package, and we end up working together for years.
Fantastic. That's awesome. And it's interesting. So it sounds like all of this, where you are today, really you got there organically. And because myself, I had a bit of a circuitous route to where I am today. I too went similar. I went to college, actually got my degree for interior design, and knew straight away that, this isn't quite what I want to do, but I love it. Like, I love redoing my home and really redoing it, not just like throw pillows, for myself. But I didn't want to do that for other people. I wanted to do something in fashion. End up, very long story short, end up being where I am through kind of trial and error, and which is, being a fashion stylist and working for a large company doing the windows and styling, the merchandising, and then finally growing my own business by doing personal styling and editorial. So similar. We have similar paths, It sounds like. Yeah. But the thing about it is I love how I look back and there were times where I was like, gosh, I wish I knew this back then. And I wish, but you can't do that. I feel like I look back now and I thought, well, look at how I got here. It was not a straight and cut path. It was not easy by any means. And don't you feel like you've learned so much from yourself and just your experiences alone that kind of make you who you are today?
I think you're always learning as a small business owner. And I think you learn so much from other people in your community. I learned so much from other women. And I ask so many questions. Women and men, I have both in my community, but I ask so many questions. Like, it's so much more than where did you get that? I'm always asking questions. I'm always looking to get to the next level. What is that next level for me? I'm always learning, and I recommend this to my sponsors and clients, getting to know my following, who they are, what they do, what they will order when they go out to dinner, what they will buy if they walk into the Westchester Mall. I'm always thinking of curating my group so that when I go to a potential sponsor, I can say, this is what I am bringing to the table. Right. This is the group of people. My people are going to do this. And it takes a long time to get there.
Yeah. Fantastic. I love the fact that, like you said, you've got a little bit of everything, and the social media is separate from the blog. I mean, first of all, I'm interested in the recipes. Like I said, even though I don't cook, you said quick and easy. I'm like, that's me. Especially in the winter, I feel like that's a fun thing to do. And then, of course, I'm interested in all the other things. I know you have good recommendations for restaurants.
Yes, all the time. We're trying out restaurants.
Love that. So. Anyway, I want to pivot a little bit and kind of switch gears and talk a little bit about Fashion Week, because that's also a part of your brand is fashion, and you're very fashionable.
Thank you.
Every time I've seen you, yes. And by the way, I should say, I want to tell listeners how we met. So we met through a mutual friend. Mm-hmm. I like to call her the connector.
Mm-hmm. She really is.
She really is. She's like a little bit of a spider web. She knows everyone. And I had said to her originally, I need to find really good guests for my podcast. And I've known this girl for years and years. And she immediately started saying different names. And I said, this is the type of person I'm looking for. And it doesn't have to be someone specifically that works in fashion only. I actually like when people do a little bit of everything, or like yourself, that has some experience in fashion, but experience in other areas. I think it just adds depth, first of all, to your portfolio, but also to our conversation. And your name was one of the first names she said. And I said, I know this name. I'm sure I had seen you on social media, probably through her because of reposting, like you mentioned. Your name was so familiar. And then she was like, yeah, we need to get together. Eventually, we met. I came to one of your events, which was so fun. Yeah. Yes. A restaurant that I didn't even know existed. It's in Westchester. Mm-hmm. And it was so fun. I thought, wow, this is what you do. So you do things like that all the time, kind of.
I do. Well, you know what? I'm not really that big on events because I hate to put that on people. I know people are so busy, but if it's something really special, and I know that my community, or I have a community of bloggers or influencers and people who are very successful would like to come to, then for sure I do it.
Yeah.
Because I know how busy you guys all are.
Yeah.
And even with social media, I try to keep everything I do very brief, to the point.
Yeah.
But I try to inspire people. So if it doesn't inspire me, I don't think it's going to inspire you. So if there's a place that inspires me, someplace that I know I love and spending time and love the food, then I'm happy to share it. If not so much, then I pass.
Okay.
So it's really genuine like that. I don't just take somebody's money and publicize it if I don't believe in it. And a lot of times I'm not even sponsored. I feature things that I just personally love.
Okay. Well, I loved it because I loved meeting all the different people that was at your events, and everybody looked fantastic. I mean, one girl was sitting across me. She had these amazing earrings on. Obviously, I'm a stylist, so I'm looking at people for inspiration. I mean, that's truly where I get my inspirations from, many things, but especially people. So everyone was very fashionable. Everyone was great. I was like, I love this. So speaking of fashion, we're going to talk a little bit about Fashion Week. It has just ended in New York, and I went to a few shows. I saw a few shows online. Nicole has seen a few things on her end. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we saw, and we'll just highlight a few things that we loved. Now, keep in mind, Fashion Week in New York right now is showing what's coming for the spring of 2023. So I just want to say that so people aren't like, wait, what? And we're going to get to fall stuff a little later, but I want to talk about what we saw. And I like talking about what's coming in spring because most of the time, the trends are overlapping from season to season. So what we're seeing right now in fall, we were seeing last spring. What we're seeing next spring is probably a lot of it's going to be what we're seeing now in the fall. So some of my favorites, the first show worth mentioning. Anything that I mentioned, by the way, you can then put in the search bar and you can see photos or sometimes the actual show video of any of this. So it's all available online. So Christian Siriano, one of my favorite designers, and by the way, he happens to live here in Connecticut. I ran into him in Balducci's in Westport, and I was like, oh, I had a little moment. I only get starstruck when I see people in the fashion industry. I don't know why. I've seen plenty of actors in LA and in New York, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. Okay. When someone's from the fashion industry, it really makes my heart go pitter patter. So I see him literally in the produce department of Balducci's, and it's the middle of summer. No one's in there, and I walked by and I was like, oh my God, I just want to say hi. And he was just picking his fruit. So I said, hi, I just want to tell you, I love you. You're fabulous. I really had a fangirl moment. Right. And he said, oh, thanks. So I went about my business and I was moved on and was picking up, potatoes or something. And he came by me. So I passed him and then he was passing me. And as he was passing me, I see out of the corner of my eye, he gives me a once over.
Oh, that's
and
so
I was
cute.
like, immediately like, oh no, I don't have a great outfit on.
No, I'm sure you look amazing.
I didn't. I swear to God, I don't remember where it was coming from. It was like an okay outfit. The only saving grace I had a really fabulous vintage Gucci bag.
Oh, that's good.
And I was like, okay, maybe he saw the bag. Maybe he saw the bag. And meanwhile, he probably did not care. But, he glanced over and kind of smiled at me. And I was like, ooh, I got a once over by Christian Siriano.
So cute.
I loved it. So anyway, his show, I did not personally attend, but I saw this live stream. It was, first of all, the venue was Liz Taylor's former mansion in Manhattan. So imagine the space. It was incredible. Very old school Hollywood. It had this grand staircase. It was very sort of salon style if you imagine how fashion shows were shown back in the days of Coco Chanel or the old days when it was actually shown in someone's house. That's how it looked. And Janet Jackson was sitting in the front row. Very old Hollywood glam. So this is the takeaway. This is what we're going to see going into the spring. We're already seeing it. Very kind of dress up for the events that we are going to again. Amen. Lots of ruffles, lots of tulle. Lots of volume, lots of texture. I feel like that is certainly his DNA and his style is dressing up, which I love. And I feel like they were like really pretty old school, old Hollywood glamour clothes, nipped in waist, really big puff sleeves, creating a beautiful silhouette. So something that I love. What are your thoughts on that sort of style?
So I watched a lot of shows. I do a lot of virtual now. Yep. I love Fashion Week. I love it so much. I always wait. My favorite one is Michael Kors, The Last Day.
Yep.
I just love his music. I love his aesthetic. I love everything about Michael Kors. What I noticed in a lot of the shows for spring 23 is the long dress is still in.
Yes.
A lot of florals, a lot of pastels. Like I keep seeing this one, I don't remember which fashion show it was, but it was like this long, billowy pink floral with ruffles dress. And I thought like, oh my gosh, that is like the spring dress.
Yeah.
It's so great. It's beautiful. And I think there's going to be a lot of that for spring. I think, like you said, the feminine sort of old Hollywood glamour, glam is really going to take center stage.
Yeah.
And I think people are going to be adding a lot more dresses to their wardrobe. I find that my readers were all about the dress. Like all summer long when I got together with people or I met up with people or they were like, put their white jeans away. It was always white jeans and a cute top for like, but this summer it was all about the
dresses.
dress.
Yes.
And everybody had just the cute, like everywhere I went, every event, the dresses were out of control. And I think that's what's going to continue.
And do you think that was because of the pandemic?
I think that's because of the pandemic. And I also think people are starting to dress up again. Like I said during the pandemic, I'm never going to underdress again. I'm always going to overdress.
Thank you.
I just think like I have spent too many nights in my pajamas. I'm like, I am just going to overdress. And I always was an overdresser. Like I joke, I'm always channeling Liza Minnelli when I go out. Always.
Yep.
So for me, I was like, this is great. But I would always go for the safe outfit, the white jeans, like the pretty top, you know, the dresses. I always thought like, oh, if my graduation or something, but then I just like I was always in a dress for the past like year. And
I love that too. And I would agree with you, just to piggyback on that. I have always been an overdresser too. My friends tease me and say, like, if you tell Tina, like, okay, it's dressy casual, she's going to show up in a ball gown. And that's kind of the joke. And it's true. And I'm like, but you know what? That makes me happy. Right. I'm not trying to outdo anyone. I'm not trying to be someone else. Truly, if you know me, you know, I'm just happy. And by the way, I'm not offended if you're in sweats. I'm not, you know, I might say, you're not going to sit next to me. No, kidding.
No.
But you know what I mean? I don't expect that of other people. And I think sometimes people do, you know, and if I'm going out, friends will say, well, what are you wearing? I get that all the time. Yeah. And I'll say, again, remember who I am. I often will over-accessorize. Like today I have such minimal jewelry on. Great. Normally I have like bracelets and tons of necklaces. I like to over-accessorize. I like to dress up. That's what I do for a living. So it kind of makes sense, right? And again, it makes me happy. So I feel like if it doesn't make you happy, don't do it, right? Like anything in life, right?
Totally.
So I agree. Old Hollywood glamour, dressing up is back for sure. Another show I wanted to mention that I attended was the Alice and Olivia show. This is a presentation I've been going to probably the longest, I think, in my Fashion Week days. So the title was House of A&O, and it was very, if you know Stacey Bendet, she's known for her whimsical style and lots of color, which I love. I feel like we went through that whole beige era. Thank you, Kardashians, for promoting that. You know, only wearing brown and beige. No, I mean, it has its place. Don't get me wrong. Neutrals will always have their place. But I felt like we, you know, in the fashion world, it was like neutrals. And then we hit this pandemic, and then it was like, oh, now we're really neutral. We're like, you know, there's no reason to wear anything fancy or color. Color is back, and I'm happy, and I'm glad there's choices. Particularly at Alice and Olivia, there were bright, saturated colors. So when I say bright, I don't mean like neon, but they were very saturated. So there was turquoise, there was pink, there was green, there was lots of denim on denim on denim. There was this fabulous trench coat that was a turquoise. I want to say, like a deep turquoise. And it was vegan leather, which is also another trend. She also introduced some trucker hats. And I'm like, trucker hats are back now. We're going back that way. But the point was, it was lots of leather and lots of color, lots of, there was this color called chili pepper. It was like a red orange, which I was loving. And there were some softer colors too, but I felt, also black and white. There was lots of black and white. So I feel like even if you don't wear color, You can inject a little bit. You can kind of accessorize with it. You can do your handbag, a shoe, an earring, even a lipstick. Maybe I'm going to try a red-orange lipstick, whatever it may be, if you want to try some color. And then one of my other favorite shows was Ulla Johnson. I love this designer. I'm a big fan. I have several pieces of Ulla Johnson, and it's very, very feminine, I would say. Like the silhouettes are very feminine, very kind of like globe-trotting textiles. That's what I think of. I see all these different prints and pattern, and the venue itself was also beautiful. It was held at the Brooklyn Museum in the Fine Arts Courtyard, and it was basically all about texture and landscape, and the colors at this show were not bright at all. It was completely different. It reminded me of a spice rack. Like if you took cayenne pepper and you took rosemary and you took oregano and you took all those like very earthy colors, but they were also very rich. So there wasn't anything subtle about her show, but it wasn't bright at all. So again, I always say every season, regardless of what's quote unquote on trend, it seems like now there's something for everyone. So it used to be like spring is flowers and stripes and nautical or whatever. And then fall is, like rich tones, and that's it. Not anymore. It seems like we're seeing neons in the fall and we're seeing, dark, moody florals in the spring. And so that's the great thing about it. So there's something for everyone. Good to have fun. Anything else you were noticing from
Alice and Olivia? I saw sequins, and we talked about this a little bit before, how sequins are making a huge comeback.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because of Harry Styles, but I have to say everybody wants something sequin, whether it's a top. I've seen H&M has some great, really well-priced dresses if you want to just not, spend a lot of money. Alice and Olivia had some great stuff in their show. So I think I kept noticing that a lot.
Yeah. And so I have talked about this before on the podcast, and I've talked about this with friends and clients. Sequins for day specifically, which I think is what you're referring to. So long gone are the days when it's like sequins and fur and leather and rich fabrics are only for evening or, special events. It's now we're seeing, for example, I have a pink sequin pencil skirt from Alice and Olivia. Just remembered. I bought last spring. So again, we started to see it a season or two ago. It's becoming more and more kind of popular and on trend. Again, on trend really for me just means accessible. It just means you're going to see more of it, and therefore there'll be something at every price point. So if you do want to try a sequin skirt and you think, oh, I would never wear that, you're going to be able to find it because it is on trend. So if you want to spend $20 in H&M's, or you want to go to Bergdorf's and spend $2,000, there'll be something for everyone at every price point. So yes, sequins for sure, sequins for day. And how I love to pair it, exactly how you would pair, like in lieu of a pair of jeans. So sequin skirt and a t-shirt, I think that looks so cool. Swap it out for maybe a little silk cami or maybe a cashmere sweater tucked in for a day. I think it would be great. Don't you agree?
Oh, totally. We've seen a lot. It's not really, I'm not a tank person, but they've shown a lot of white tanks.
Yes.
Simple white tanks with whether it be the leather skirt or the sequin skirt. So there's a way to have the dressy bottom with the casual top. So
Yes.
Get yourself a great white tank or t-shirt to sort of dress down a really funky skirt.
Even just going, now I'm thinking Jenna Lyons popped in my head from used to be a J. Crew. This sequins, who she really kind of, I think she put this on the map years ago. A sequin skirt with a denim shirt tucked in.
So cute.
Roll up the sleeves, right? Don't you picture Jenna Lyons?
Silver, yes.
Yes, right. With sparkly shoe or something. And she made that office wear. Granted, she was in a creative field, still is, and had a creative role, big part at J. Crew for many years. But she kind of normalized it. It was like, oh, okay, we're going to do a sequin skirt with a white button-down shirt, and then take it one step further. Maybe it's borrowed from the boys, so you steal it from your significant other's closet, or, and you kind of roll up the sleeves and it's oversized. Now we've got a great balance of feminine and masculine and kind of day wear and evening wear put together. And it really looks, it's a look. I like it. I'm here for it, as they say. All right. So I'd like to end the show. By the way, you're fabulous.
Oh, thank you. So are
and
you.
We're going to have you back. But I like to end each show with a tip, any kind of tip you've got. I'll give I have lots of styling tips. A tip of the day. What do you have for us? One thing.
One tip. Okay, so this is something that I really try to live every day. So I don't get overwhelmed. I take one day at a time, but I always think that something magical is about to happen.
Oh,
so keep that in mind.
Wow. I love that. Oh, that's really cool. I like that. And then, do you think of that like in the morning? Do you think of that or just randomly throughout the day? Like, does that kind of set you up for the day?
Sort of like just always have that in the back of my mind. Like, and you can create your own magic, whether it's something that you do with your family or a friend. Like, I feel like my girlfriends are my magic half the time. Like, I just enjoy being with them. And so you just always think that something magical is about to happen. And I think it sort of elevates your mood and thinking positively.
I love that. Okay. Well, my tip of the day isn't that special, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. So my tip of the day is, let's say where you're shopping for fall, ladies, don't forget to check out the men's department. We underestimate the power of men's dressing it and making it your own. So for example, buy the oversized shirt. I like to look in the men's department and I will get a button-down shirt in like a men's small or medium. I'll throw it on over maybe, let's say, a pair of leggings, belt it with a cute little designer belt or whatever, and then suddenly you've got an hourglass figure, yet it's kind of that hard and soft, masculine, feminine look. You can then layer it over a cardigan, throw on it maybe a suede boot, and it's a cute fall outfit. So don't forget to check the men's department. Maybe it's a blazer and you want kind of a boyfriend blazer, so it's a little oversized. The men's clothes are obviously going to be cut differently, and in this case, that's a good thing. Just remember, limit it to one thing, not the whole outfit. You don't want to be swimming in, menswear. That's my tip of the day. All Excellent. Right, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you so much, Nicole, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Tina.
And I want to give out your social media handle once again. Give out all your stuff of how people can find your fabulousness.
So thank you. So on Instagram, it's the @NS Nicole Steinthal, my initials, Lifestyles blog. And the blog itself is www.nslifestyles.com.
Thanks so much. Thank you for joining us in the fashion department. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me in the fashion department. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. For more inspiration and fashion content, check out my website and follow along on Instagram @wardrobe_envy. And a special thanks to the Factory Underground Studio for recording and producing this show. See you next time.